How are you, sir?
Pretty good.
So, you're enjoying yourself so far?
Yeah, I like Comic Cons in general.
Yeah?
It's a good way to get in contact with the fans.
Awesome. How many people have actually come up and offered you their name this weekend so far? Or a name?
No one. They're actually all pretending to be no one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Interesting. So nobody's done that yet. Okay. So, you've done so many different roles, but a lot of folks tend to know you as Jaqen H'ghar of Game of Thrones, but you've done a lot of other things as well. And I know everyone wants to talk Game of Thrones, but as a host, you're going to have to cover an actor's career, so I'm going to talk about a bit of everything. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan, and you were in the Sarah Jane Adventures. You were also in a lot of German productions as well, that I actually have sought out since I found out you were actually coming here, and watched them all, and they're great productions, well worth checking out. You've done some period work, as that image up there will show, but everyone knows you mainly from Game of Thrones, obviously. Do you find working in such an ensemble cast, like Game of Thrones, but so separated in the role you play from everyone else, do you still find that cast like that, or like a family overall?
It's tricky, because most of the time when I'm on set, I just work with Maisie, and I don't get to meet the other guys very often. I mean, we do read-throughs at the beginning of every season, and then we have premieres. I mean, this year in LA, and last year for season 5 in San Francisco. So that's great, but that's one of the rare occasions when you actually get to meet everybody.
Cool. But like, it seems whenever we see the media stuff, you guys are all out together, and you just seem to be really enjoying yourselves, like having a really good time promoting the show.
Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, that's what you do. When you're on set, it's work, obviously, but of course, you're trying to have fun at the same time.
Cool. And like, did you read the books before you found out you were in the show, or did you read them after?
I gotta confess that I only read the first 2 books when I joined the show in season 2, and ever since then I've only watched the series.
Well, I mean, how many people here have read the books? And like, everyone knows in the books that Jaqen the character is kind of a bit more split. In the show, they kind of gave you a big role later in the seasons. They bumped it up because everyone was actually, when you actually appeared in the show, I think from the fans' point of view, we're like, we want more of him. Give us more of him, thank you very much. But they made your character, so you play Jaqen, but later there was the friendly character, the friendly man that I think...
kindly man.
The kindly man, that they call him. But they mixed those 2 characters together. Obviously you were quite happy when they were like, we're bringing you back.
Yeah, I was happy. I mean, producers told me at the end of season 2 that they had an idea how to maybe bring me back, but they didn't know if it was going to work out, so I couldn't be sure of it.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone here is probably happy that he did come back and we got to see more of Jaqen, is that right? There's also a show that is starting to get syndication as well. I actually wanted to touch on it real quick. Crossing Lines is a show that you're doing with an ensemble cast, quite an impressive ensemble cast as well. You've got Donald Sutherland and Michael Fincher are leading up the cast. How is it to work on, like, go from something like Game of Thrones to a show like that? Does it ever blow you away with the actors that you work with on a larger scale, like with Game of Thrones, into a show like that, working with a legend like Donald Sutherland?
I mean, for an actor, I mean, to me, it doesn't make much difference what the genre is. I mean, as soon as the cameras are rolling, you give your best, so you try to give your best. And of course, Crossing Lines is a contemporary procedural crime drama, so it's different from Game of Thrones in that way. But it was also a very intense experience because, as you mentioned, it's a very international cast. I mean, actors from 7-8 countries, and it's great to work with all of these guys because all of us have different acting backgrounds and sometimes different approaches to certain things, and so yeah, it's fun.
We are going to open up the floor to questions in about 2-3 minutes, so do get your questions ready, folks. And we have Kieran and Jill will point you in the direction of the microphone. So we have microphones here, We have a microphone here. So if folks want to ask questions, if you could form a line and just jump up with the question, don't be afraid. Alright? Anyone can ask a question, and there's no such thing as a silly question, so ask as many as you want. So, working on Game of Thrones in particular, in the role that you had, did you find anything challenging overall, trying to capture the character?
Well, when I first auditioned for it, they only sent me one scene. I believe the very first scene where I appear in the cage in season 2, and I hadn't read it, and I wasn't even aware of Game of Thrones at that point. And I just read the scene, and I thought, that's really weird stuff. I mean, a guy who talks of himself in third person, and I didn't really know what to make of it. So I just gave it my best shot, and luckily the producers liked my take. And I think that's the most the most challenging thing about this part is his weird way of speaking, because if you overact that, or if you overdo it, then it easily becomes too much and cliched or like a caricature. And in the end, I still wanted Jaqen to be a real person.
And were you happy when you found out that really at no point you were going to die, as most characters seem to do in that show?
I don't know if I'm going to die. I mean, it's going to be tough to kill me off.
Can you die?
I don't know. I mean, I think me personally, yeah, I think I can die, but my face can't. So, I mean, even if they killed me, somebody else could come along and take my face, and then it'd be me again. I mean, that's my theory, at least.
It's a good theory. It's a good theory. Okay, we're going to open the floor to questions. So does anyone have a question? Come on, guys, don't be shy. If you have a question, go to the microphone. So there's 2 microphones. You got one here, and we got one over here. So just form a line. No problem whatsoever. Just form a line, and then jump up and ask your question. So we'll go to this gentleman first, and then over to yourself.
Who do you think will end up on the Iron Throne?
I didn't get that.
Who do you think will end up on the Iron Throne?
It's pretty simple. Jaqen H'ghar.
Would that be the final twist?
Not backed by any knowledge, though. I mean, it's.
But would that be the final twist? Somebody sits on the Iron Throne, and in the end, before the last scene, just take the face off.
Yeah.
And then it's like, see,
yeah,
done. Jen.
Hi, my question was very much along the same lines actually, but mine was more of who do you think your character would like to see on the Iron Throne?
Well, from my character's point of view, I would have to say Arya, of course, because I've devoted so much time training her and making her strong, so it would make sense to say that Arya would be a good contender for the throne.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
What's up, man? What is that? If you could swap faces with either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, which one would you pick?
To put on?
Yeah.
Neither of them.
But if you could pick any in the world, which person's face, if you could, for a day?
If I could choose any face in the world, without wanting to sound vain, but I'm pretty happy with my own. I haven't really thought about that. I guess it depends on the occasion.
Cool.
Next question?
Hi again. Does Jaqen really like Arya? Because he seemed quite surprised that she survived the wave fight. When the wave, when he followed the blood on the floor.
Does he really like Arya? I think he does. I mean, otherwise, what's the point of this whole storyline? And the wave, that's a different question. I mean, that might have been just the ultimate test. And in my theory, I mean, the whole sect of the Faceless Men is a very interesting thing, because I think they're not, how can I say this? For them, all that counts is the many-faced God and the ultimate gift that they give to people. So I think Jaqen's always seen a lot of potential in Arya, and in order to make her really strong, he's put her to all these tests. But had she not survived the wave, then maybe she wouldn't have been the right choice. You know, so I think from his perspective, he chose her because he saw a lot of potential. But and I think he's kind of content or happy in the end that she's managed to survive the wave.
Have you done with the character off screen when you're preparing for the character with the writers, with the directors? Do you actually say, well, behind what the character has done with Arya, do you put in your own story that you believe that there are motives for what he does to push her to where she needs to go?
I mean, we talk about that stuff, of course, but I mean, it's all in the script. And like, for instance, a lot of people ask me, why did he smile at the end when Arya left him and then told him that she's still not no one, but she's still Arya Stark? And that was in the script, actually. It said Jaqen smiles a little bit, so that's what I did.
Do they let you ad-lib though? Do they ever let you go, well, I think he would do this? Has that ever been something they let you do?
Yeah, I mean, of course they're asking me for my input, and the way you shoot a scene is that you come to set in the morning, and then you've learned your lines, and then you're in the room where it happens, and then you rehearse the scene, and then of course first you offer what your idea is of that particular scene. Then you have the director and one of the showrunners, one of the producers who watch, and sometimes they'll say, that's a great moment, keep that, or maybe say that line a little differently, put more emphasis on this or that. And
cool. Good stuff. Next question, we'll go this gentleman over here.
Hey Tom, could you say what's the funniest story that happened to you on set?
Oh, a funny story.
Oh, the funniest event that happened.
It's a very serious shoot. There are no funny things happening ever. Funny stories. That's the interview question I hate the most. Oh, no funny story. I mean, Maisie is good fun, actually. To work with Maisie is great because obviously there's a lot of time when we're just sitting around waiting for our next scene, and we are in our little green room and telling each other jokes, and she's trying to teach me English and I'm trying to teach her German, yeah, we just try to pass the time.
What was your favorite joke?
These are very in-depth questions, very personal questions.
My favorite joke, I'm very bad at remembering jokes.
You never ask somebody what their favorite joke is, because then they just think of the most serious thing they've ever had to do in their life. It doesn't work. But there you go. Sorry. Next question?
A lot of actors like to portray their character in real life. What actor would you say is most like their Game of Thrones character?
What actor?
What actor is most like their Game of Thrones character in real life?
So like the person that would put most of themselves into the role. So for example, yourself, would be a lot of you in Jaqen H'ghar, or say for Robson Jerome would be a lot of him and Braun, or Maisie, a lot of her and Arya?
I think that's always the case. I mean, as an actor, you partly get cast because the producers see in you a lot that they see in the character. And with every character, of course, I mean, when I'm saying a line, I say the line the way I would say it. And yeah, there's always a lot of the actor in a character.